What's going on, guys? I'm Icy Rhythms. Welcome back. I know it's been a while, but let's get into it. I want to start by saying that Microsoft, in my opinion, with Xbox is in no way in bad shape. They're in great shape as far as I'm concerned. I'm not going to sit here and discuss all of the pros and cons of something like Game Pass. I think that that's absolutely ridiculous, and I really feel that Game Pass is a great value, both for their Xbox gamers and now, as we know, the PC community as well. I'm a little bit further behind than I wanted to be on this video, but what sparked this video, no question, no doubt about it, the delays for Starfield and Redfall had everything to do with the reasons I wanted to make this video, but they are not the sole reason. This video has been coming for quite some time, and I just feel like these delays, just give me further reason to do so, because I believe that there is an issue at Xbox. There is a problem, and I don't think that that problem is Phil Spencer. In Phil Spencer's case, I think it's easy to look like the problem because you're Phil Spencer and you have all of this to do with Xbox and you're just very outspoken. Maybe you speak a little bit too much. I like the transparency. Maybe I feel like they could afford to be a little more transparent, but I like Phil Spencer. I like what he's doing. I like what he's done. I don't think you can put everything on Phil Spencer. I've talked about this a lot in the past where, Sony, Nintendo, there's some third parties that are obviously very well managed, but when you have the issue that they have, again, let's not make it about just Starfield and Redfall. It is about that. That's what sparked the video, but this has been an ongoing problem at Xbox for a lot of years, and let's not try and pretend otherwise. Plain and simple, there is no other way to put it. I don't feel that they're poorly managed, but they're not managed properly. It's not just about delaying a couple of games or even delaying 10 games. It's about, where are the games? We've had the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5 for about 2 years now, so, it begs the question. You look at the Sony side, you still look at some of the stuff that Nintendo is doing. You can see two very well-managed companies putting out games, putting out first-party games in particular. I don't want to sit here and say, we're not going to play that game where it's like Xbox has no games, because they have a ton of games to play, whether it's through Game Pass or third-party stuff, AAA, indie, whatever it is. There's tons of games to play. If you love Xbox, you guys have, tons of games to play, but it gets to a point, at least for me, as someone that owns all three of those consoles, where I'm asking, all right, but where are the must-have first-party games? I mean, we just have to take a look around and say to ourselves, okay, Microsoft, they were buying developers left and right. Developers that may even in some cases have been struggling to keep the lights on. So Microsoft came in, scooped them up, and probably saved the day in the case of some of those developers. And one of those developers, really, really exciting stuff, and I still think they'll make great games, is Obsidian. But they've had Obsidian for a while now. They've had some of these other developers for a while. They bought up Bethesda. It's not a final, the deal isn't complete yet, but they bought Activision, two huge publishers. Some of them, they make some of my favorite games. But with that being said, as someone that has defended Microsoft and the Xbox brands, without it being my preference, mind you, I have defended them for so many different reasons. I can no longer do that. Where are the first party games? Like many of you, I'm sure, especially if you're like a diehard Xbox fan, when they were buying up these hand-picked developers and then out of nowhere the explosion with the Bethesda purchase, I thought to myself, all right, Microsoft gamers, Xbox gamers will never be starved for games. There's no reason why that should happen now. Like, they should be getting, 2 or 3 big first-party releases a year minimum, considering everything that they have. And it's like, where are the damn games? When are these games coming? Like, look, Microsoft has a ton of games in development. There's no denying that, but we're 2 years into this generation. You look at what Sony has done, you look at what Nintendo continues to do. We won't get into the PC space because that's for a completely different video, but I feel like they're not doing enough. Again, I don't feel like they're poorly managed. I just feel like they're not doing a good enough job. In my opinion, poorly managed would be like even more delays by, the 10s and the 20s, and a bunch of them also getting canceled or something like that, something to that effect. I would say, okay, we're dealing with a very, very, very poorly managed company. So I think it's a bit of a stretch, even if I've thought it or said it before, to say that they're poorly managed. But Microsoft and Xbox need to be doing a better job for, as it pertains to feeding their Xbox gamers, must have first party titles. Whether or not they're exclusive, we know that they're not going to be, because those games are going to end up on PC, and in some cases, probably PlayStation as well. So I just feel like they should be doing better, and Xbox gamers, Xbox diehards especially, they deserve better. There's a lot of damage control out there. There's a lot of fingers I could point and names I could point to, but I'm not gonna do that in this video. You guys know who they are. You know who is doing these things, and I just feel like even they know deep down, whether they would admit it or not, in fear of losing sponsorships or being able to talk with whoever they talk to for some of their inside information. They won't say what they really want to say, that Xbox, it doesn't suck right now, but it's not very good either. It could be better. It should be better, considering everything that Microsoft has. Consider the games that they already had in development before they picked up Bethesda, the deals in place that they already had before they picked up Bethesda and Activision, all of that stuff. Where are the games? Like 2 years, Xbox Series X. Where are the games? We need to demand better. Again, as someone that owns all 3 consoles, a pretty capable PC, I'm never starved for games, but as someone that owns the platform, my brother owns an Xbox as well. He's a huge Xbox guy. I think even he's starting to see that this could be quite a bit better, but for whatever reason, it's not. And I feel like whatever Microsoft has going on in terms of management, they need to start looking elsewhere. Boatloads of money, maybe pay, one of the people at Sony that have been working there for years, that have helped manage some of these teams and helped managed some of these games and getting them out the door. You got to take a look at some of that stuff. I still think there's a lot to be excited about. It's just, why are we waiting so long to even get, a small handful of games? I feel like at this point, 2 years into the Xbox, everything that Microsoft has going, everything that they own, why haven't there been at least 4 or 5 big games that they've released? Halo Infinite, no doubt, was their biggest release so far this generation. And really, can we even call it a big release or a huge release? Maybe in terms of marketing and the way things were handled in that respect, but the game kind of came and went. Like, nobody's talking about Halo Infinite. When I see people talk about Halo Infinite, they're saying, man, what could have been? Or this should have been a lot better. Or, man, 343 really sucks. Or 343 really dropped the ball. I haven't played it. I don't know. Some people like it. Some people swear by some of the gameplay and the gameplay changes from the other games, and they really enjoyed their experience, but even they've dropped it in terms of like whether or not they're still playing it or the multiplayer. I don't think Halo doesn't have that name anymore. Halo is Halo, for lack of a better way of putting it. Halo is no longer that guy. Master Chief is no longer that guy. Halo needs a break, like a good long break, like a 5 to 10 year break. I know that's like a really big window, a really big, piece in time, but it needs a break. Maybe, just go away for a while, revamp everything from the ground up, maybe even consider not making it a first person game anymore. Switch it up a little bit, do something else, just do something else. I don't have all the answers. I'm not saying that I could manage Xbox, but I feel like just taking a look around at what they currently have or what they plan to have at Xbox, I could look at it and say, okay, this is what gamers would really be interested in, and this over here that you have going on is going to be absolute crap. No one is going to care about this. Stop spending $300 million in marketing or whatever you're doing with this game, because it's just not going to work. Even if you don't like PlayStation stuff, even if you don't like Nintendo stuff, if you were there when games like The Last of Us and Spider-Man and Breath of the Wild or, Luigi's Mansion or something were, in development, you could look at those games and say, man, the fans of these games, or these games are going to bring in a lot of newcomers because this shit looks absolutely incredible. You could take a look at those games and see that. Some of the stuff Microsoft has, some of the stuff they've had in the past, the moment they show it, even if it's just like a teaser, like a little 30, 45-second thing of just a cutscene, not even gameplay, I can look at that and I can say, no one's going to care about this. And in fact, nine times out of 10, I'm right. So that's my take, current state of Xbox gaming in terms of the first party output. It's not just about Starfield or Redfall. Those are just two games. It's about looking at the history over the last 10 or 15 years and saying to yourself, what in the hell is going on? Microsoft, get your shit together. I know you can do better. I think you will do better, but how long are we going to have to play the waiting game? How long is this going to take? Because by the time something must have from Microsoft comes out, whether it's like on the AAA front or like the AA front or the indie front, whatever it is that comes out where people are just like, all right, wow, like I wasn't expecting this to be that good, and it is that damn good. You know, Sony and Nintendo would have already put out probably another 5 to 10 must-have titles for their consumers. It just seems like this is taking way too damn long. Not properly managed, plain and simple. You guys have a good one. Let me know what you think down in the comment section. You guys take care. Have a good one. Peace.